You are folding a grocery bag to reuse it next week, not because you have to, because the habit is older than your bank balance and you stopped noticing you do it. The receipt says $19.40, 2 bags of rice, a dozen eggs, a bruised bag of onions you got half off because the cashier didn't feel like checking each one. Someone in line behind you sighs, loud enough to be heard, not loud enough to be confronted. They think they know what $19.40 means about you. They are wrong in a way that will take them 20 years to understand, if they ever do. This is where it starts. Not with a windfall, not with a system, with a bag folded flat and tucked into a drawer that already has 40 just like it. Level 1. Broke and pretending not to be. You are 22. You make $2,300 a month after taxes. Rent takes $950. The rest disappears into 100 small decisions you can't fully account for by the time the month ends. You eat out because eating out feels like proof that you're still a person with a life, not just a person with a budget. The $14 lunch isn't reckless. It's armor. It's the thing that lets you sit across from coworkers who make more than you and not feel the gap. You put $60 on a credit card this month you didn't mean to spend. You tell yourself you'll pay it off next check. You mostly do. The frugality here isn't a strategy, it's an accident. It's the $4 coffee you skip on a Tuesday because you're tired of feeling behind, not because you've done any math. You are broke in the ordinary way most people are broke at 22, which is to say, you have no idea yet what the difference is between spending less and building something. Nobody has explained the difference to you, and you wouldn't have believed them if they had. At this level, frugality is a mood, not a system. It shows up when you're anxious and disappears when you're not, and then something small happens. A friend mentions a number, offhand, at a party, the amount they have in savings. It's not impressive. It's $2,200. But it exists, and yours doesn't, and that gap sits in your stomach longer than it should. Level 2. Frugal on purpose. You are 25. You have started tracking it, actually tracking it, not in your head, but in an app with categories and totals that don't lie to you the way your memory does. The number is uncomfortable at first. $340 on takeout in a single month stares back at you and you don't have a defense for it. You start making changes that are boring enough that nobody notices them. You bring lunch 4 days a week instead of 1. You canceled 2 subscriptions you forgot you had. $23 total. Gone. Redirected. You start buying the store brand and discover, mildly annoyed, that it tastes the same. None of this feels like sacrifice exactly. It feels like paying attention for the first time to a system that had been running on autopilot. Your friend Devin leases a car that month, $480 a month, and talks about it with the specific enthusiasm of someone who needs you to validate the decision. You nod. You say nothing about the $17,000 that lease will cost him over 3 years for a machine he'll never own. You drive the same used sedan you bought 2 years ago, paid in full, and you let people assume what they assume about a car with 90,000 miles on it. The assumption is free protection. You start putting $150 a month into savings, automatically, on payday, before you can talk yourself out of it. It is not a large number. It does not feel like the beginning of anything. It is the beginning of everything. Level 3. The gap becomes visible. You are 28. Your income has grown to $58,000. Here is what's strange. Your spending barely moved. The raise went somewhere, and that somewhere was the gap. The space between what you earn and what you spend. And you are one of the few people you know who actually protects that space instead of letting it close the moment it opens. You have $11,000 saved now. Some of it in an account that actually earns something. Some of it invested in a fund you picked without much drama 6 months ago. You still buy the store brand. You still fold the bags, but something has shifted in how it feels. It used to feel like restriction. Now it feels like a decision you're making on purpose, one that has a destination attached to it even if you can't see the destination clearly yet. Your coworker Marissa gets a raise the same month you do and immediately upgrades her apartment. $300 more a month for a view she'll stop noticing within a season. You don't judge her for it. You just notice, quietly, that your raise is still sitting in an account compounding, while hers is already spent on square footage. At a work happy hour, someone asks if you're saving for anything specific. You say not really, just saving. This is a lie of omission. You are saving for a version of your life that doesn't require asking anyone's permission, and you're not ready to say that out loud yet because it still sounds like something other people get to want. Level 4. Quiet accumulation. You are 32. The account reads $47,000 across savings and investments combined. The frugality has become so embedded that you rarely think of it as frugality anymore. It's just how you live. You cook most nights, not from discipline, but from actual preference you developed somewhere along the way. You still drive the sedan, now with 140,000 miles on it, and it still runs. And you have stopped explaining this to people who ask why you haven't upgraded. The explaining was never for them anyway. Something changes this year that has nothing to do with your behavior and everything to do with math. The market adds more to your account in a single strong year, close to $3,800, than you contributed in several months of actual saving. You didn't do anything to earn that $3,800. It just accrued, quietly, while you were doing other things. This is the first year the machine starts pulling its own weight alongside you. Your sister buys a house that stretches her budget thin, a $2,900 monthly payment on a place that photographs beautifully and drains her every month it exists. You rent a smaller place near a park on purpose and let her assume you simply haven't gotten there yet. You have gotten somewhere. It's just not somewhere with granite countertops. Level 5. The disguise thickens. You are 37. Combined assets cross $140,000. You have started noticing something uncomfortable and useful at the same time. The less you need to prove, the less you spend on proving it. You wear the same 3 sweaters in rotation through most of winter. You do not know or care what's trending because caring was never load-bearing in your life the way you once assumed it was. A younger coworker asks you, almost suspicious, how you afford your life on what he assumes is a modest salary. You don't correct his assumption. You tell him you just don't spend much, which is true and also conceals the actual shape of what's happening, which is that not spending much combined with 14 years of consistency has become something with real mass. Your investments earned more this year than your entire starting salary at 22. You do not post about this. You do not mention it at dinner. You let the frayed sweater and the aging car keep doing what they've always done, which is make you invisible to a world that sorts people by appearance and gets it wrong more often than it realizes. Level 6. Enough becomes real. You are 42. The number is $340,000. At a conservative withdrawal rate, your portfolio could quietly cover a meaningful chunk of your annual expenses without you selling anything or changing a single habit. This is the year frugality stops being about restriction entirely and becomes about alignment. You're not avoiding spending because you're scared of the number going down. You're avoiding spending because you've discovered, through years of testing it, that most of what you'd buy wouldn't actually improve anything that matters to you. Your father, nearing retirement after 4 decades of steady work, asks you quietly one evening how you seem so unbothered by money. You tell him the truth in a smaller form than it deserves. You just started early and didn't stop. You do not tell him the full shape of the number. Some numbers are rude to say out loud, even to the people who raised you. You buy a slightly newer car this year, paid in cash, the first real upgrade in over a decade, and you notice it doesn't produce the satisfaction you expected. The satisfaction had already happened, years earlier, in 100 small, unremarkable Tuesdays nobody was watching. Level 7. Freedom without announcement. You are 48. Assets north of $780,000. You could stop working in a way that would alarm people who've watched you live modestly for 2 decades and never understood why. You don't stop, not yet, because you've realized somewhere along the way that frugality was never really about the money. It was about building a version of yourself that doesn't need external validation to feel secure. A colleague who has spent every raise for 25 years on a life that looks impressive and owns almost nothing tells you, half joking, that you must be terrible with money since you drive what you drive. You let him think it. The thinking is doing you a favor. That night you calculate almost idly that your portfolio earned more this year than his entire salary. You feel nothing dramatic about this. You feel the specific, quiet satisfaction of a decision made decades ago finally showing its full shape. Level 8. Quietly rich. You are 55. The number no longer needs stating, even to yourself, because it stopped being the point sometime around your late 40s. You are standing in a self-checkout line on an ordinary evening, store-brand rice, a bag of onions, the same folded grocery bag you've reused a dozen times. A stranger behind you glances at your shoes, your basket, your unremarkable car in the lot outside, and decides in half a second what your life must look like. He is wrong, the same way everyone has always been wrong, and you no longer feel the need to correct him. There was no windfall, no inheritance, no single decision anyone could point to and call dramatic. There was a folded bag, a $150 transfer, a raise that never reached your lifestyle, and 33 years of choosing the quiet version of your life over the loud one. Nobody ever noticed you make the decision. Nobody ever will. That was always the point.